Going to be, we're headed for a commercial break here on the programme. Now, when we come back,
like this year, there's less sort of talk about things this year because, you know, it took on life of its own from the point of view of all this, you know, 5 in a row thing, and that's gone. And this year it's more straightforward, I suppose, really. Well, we got to the league final, which is, I suppose, you know, a decent thing to do at the end of the day, and, you know, Dublin were the opposition, but on the day Dublin blew us away in lots of ways. After that game, I suppose, there was much kind of wondering where are Kilkenny, and that was understandable too. We don't have to kind of justify ourselves to anybody else, but we have to be kind of give ourselves a standard to reach and a standard to aspire to, and also you need a confidence. Every team needs a confidence about themselves. You know that they're there and they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. Watford had the ability to beat us when we're playing well even. But, you know, winning is, I suppose, an art in itself, and I mean, it's about grinding it out and getting there. I don't think we played particularly well, certainly for the full 70 minutes. But, you know, the object of the exercise was achieved. Would it be good enough to win the All-Ireland final? Not a hope. Tipperary, it was never a doubt, I suppose, that they would get to the final.
Their cover is slipping, and the ball is in the net.
I'm not interested in 2s or 3s or 4s or anything else in a row at all. I'm just interested in the match that's going on right now, the next game, and that's there. And if Tipperary are good enough to beat us on the day, that's the way sport works. And we know they probably are, but we also feel that we're good enough to beat them on a particular day as well. So it's game on, and it's not about records, it's not about what you go on to win, it's about on the day. And it's a massive game to be looking forward to.
yeah, the thoughts of the Kilkenny manager Brian Cody ahead of today's final. Liam Sheedy, what do you think of Brian Cody?
An amazing man. An amazing man. I mean, he still has the drive, he still has the energy, he still has the enthusiasm to be at the helm there in Kilkenny. He's done a fabulous job with that team. I mean, he's probably built 2 teams over the years, you know. I mean, he keeps on bringing in new guys, and, you know, he's definitely totally focused on today. I mean, I see him getting off the bus there, and he just looks like a man that's in the zone here. He was very, very hurt, obviously. I think a lot of things worked against him last year with the way the injuries were coming up to the match, and obviously there's a bit of a circus building with the 5 in a row. So I think they've probably learned to say, look, let's keep this low key. I think the build up this year for Kilkenny has been very, very low key. Like, they went on holidays in November. They were, you know, they went early, so that they were getting back, I'd say, from the 1st of January. There's only one place they wanted to be, and that's in here in Croke Park today. And they're back there, and Tip are going to have to play extremely, extremely well to beat them. But, you know, that, as I said, that's what makes today just so intriguing.
When you go head-to-head with somebody like that, as you did for 2 years, and the prize is so high, does it get personal?
No, not at all. I mean, myself and Brian were lucky to share an All-Stars trip together, and we'd have a great camaraderie, you know, at that stage. So
I was on that.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, when you're a manager of a team, you want your team to win, and like that's the bottom line. And you know, we were Tipperary were lucky, I guess, to get over the line 2010, and Kilkenny have enjoyed huge success over the last 4 years. But again, today, you know, irrespective of the 4 that you win previous, all becomes, you know, it's all about 2011 now, and it's the same for Tip. You know, you won the match in 2010. It's all about 2011. It's all about today, and both teams wanted to say, right, well, you know, we are the All-Ireland champions in 2011, and that's what both teams want to capture today. And Brian Cody, as I said, is a man driven.
This is a kind of a defining game for Brian Cody, Cyril, in the sense that he has been such a fabulous manager, as Liam said. I mean, the record book would speak for itself, and yet to lose 4 All-Irelands in a row would just put a blot in it, wouldn't it?
He's been the icon of a hurling manager, as Liam said. Like, what he's done has been fantastic. He's very grounded, you know, he's very, very kind of down to earth. His secret is no secret. Like, a few years ago, Michael, he was in All-Ireland, they were saying, what was his secret to success? The secret was, like, it was so simple. And now, like, again, he will not want to go out, you know, losing 2 All-Irelands. But as he said himself, if they're good enough on the day, they'll win. And if they're not, you have to take them things as well. And, like, on the sideline, like, Liam has been there and Brian has been there and I've been there as well. You will get animated at times and you'll be, you know, you'll do anything to win. But when it's over, you're not there to make enemies. In actual fact, your greatest competitor is going to be your best friend when it's all said and done. Now, this promises to be a great final. But really, when the boys go inside the white line, when the players go in there, really you're dependent on the players to perform. They have to die for you. You know what I mean? And like that's what's going to count. But all good managers have that. The players are willing to die for the cause, and like that's what's going to take again today. And it's going to take something extra. But like one big thing now, Michael, has happened. You referred to it earlier on, the rain. The cogs are vital at this stage, because Croke Park, when it gets wet, unlike Torres or anywhere else, it doesn't get soft, it'll get actually faster, but it does get slippier. So like, you know, you saw the minors now, this is going to be like, it'll be much more so for the seniors. So like, whoever's able to adopt them slippery conditions will have a bit, you know, will probably win the game.
All right, okay, so we've heard from the Kilkenny manager Brian Cody. Well, he has a new opposite number on the sideline this year. Declan Ryan has taken over from Liam here, of course, as the Tip manager. Declan, an All-Ireland winner himself and an All-Star. Now, we spoke to him recently about growing up with the proud tradition of Tip hurling in his veins.
Declan Ryan again on the 40, creating menace and havoc. And that's a goal! Is it? Yes! It's a goal! Declan Ryan has scored a speculative goal.
We were all brought up in the hurling field in Kilkenny, I suppose, as young lads. From the time I was able to walk, I had a hurling man, and I always loved belting the ball around the place at home and that.
Beautiful skill. And Ryan taking that pass from Cleary, puts it over the bar.
It's at the very core of our society in Tipperary. Taking on the Tip job, I suppose, was a huge challenge and great honour, of course, but it certainly was a huge challenge. But we were confident that if we could get the players playing at the right level, that it'll take a good performance to beat this team, and.
But why did you take on the challenge, Declan? Because most people would say they're All-Ireland champions. No, there's only one way, and it's going down.
Well, I suppose part of the reason we took it on was that we were very familiar with all the younger guys that are coming through and Tip there, and we know that they're winners in their hearts. They're great men first of all, and they're great sports people secondly, and they're great men to work with. And what have we brought to the team itself? I'd like to think that we have brought some stability, and that we like these guys to play with a bit of confidence, and and just to play to their best on a given day. And if they do that, well, then they'll be difficult to beat.
Is there anything that concerns you?
Well, I don't think we've put a full 75-minute performance together this year yet. We know it's in the team. We know they're physically good enough to do it for 75 minutes or whatever it takes. Brian Cody's record is phenomenal when you think about it. The commitment and the time and the success he has had has been, it's a savage achievement. Kilkenny have a lot of super players, probably the best players that ever play the game. They'll be playing in Croke Park on All-Ireland final day, but both teams will know that they have a very, very realistic chance of winning the Liam McCarthy Cup. I think the last 2 years they've been fantastic games, but I don't think they're going to have any bearing on this game. That both teams will go in knowing they have a 50-50 chance, and if they're hungry enough on the day, and if the ball runs for whichever team, they'll probably have the best chance of winning it. The players will have to realise that they've put a huge effort into getting to All-Ireland final day, and that they have to go out and they have to be the best that they can be on the day. The important thing is to turn up fit and focused and ready for battle. And as I've said already, these guys in Tip, they're able to play at a very high level, and we hopefully will see that on our Ireland final day.
Yeah, that of course the Tip manager, Declan Ryan. Time to get some further thoughts on today's match. We're going to head downstairs where Claire McNamara is waiting to join us, along with two men with no doubt opposing views on today's game.
Yes, Michael, down here on the sideline, just sheltering from the rain at the moment. Two men who are, of course, players here for the last two finals. The recently retired Derek Lyng of Kilkenny and Declan Fanning of Tip. Declan, maybe come to you first. Obviously, you're going for Tip to win. Why? How will they win it today?
Well, I feel, Claire, that it's going to be a real physical battle, and the first 15 or 20 minutes, it's going to be really tough. And I suppose it'll maybe come down to the last 15, 20 minutes. I just feel the younger, fresher legs of Tipperary should pull away in the end.
Derek, as we know, Kilkenny do not like to be beaten. Can you see them being beaten twice in a row in a final?
Hopefully not. I think it's probably what's been driving them on all year is to get a crack at Tipperary again in All-Ireland final. And, the way conditions are today is probably going to come down to a slip maybe or something like that. It's going to be very greasy, I'd say. But, look, I think they're in a good frame of mind and they've prepared well. And, I think they should do it. And hopefully they'll probably need a good start. But, I think they have the freshness there, and haven't been tested too much this year, so hopefully that will stand to him today. And not distractions this year. There's no 5 in a row. Henry's injury, very much distracting factors last year. Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot more low-key this year, and like last year you couldn't avoid it, and that's just the way it went. And unfortunately Henry didn't last the game, and I suppose it didn't work out for us on the day. But hats off to Tipperary. They were brilliant, and regardless of Henry going off, I think they probably would have won it anyway. But look at today, there's no excuses from both teams, so we'll know by 5 o'clock this evening anyway. Declan, where is there going to be space today? Obviously, those Tipperary forwards need space. Where are they going to get it today?
Well, I think it might suit Tipperary a bit better than it did against Dublin, because I don't think Kilkenny will drop a man back, so it'll free up a lot of room. I suppose Kilkenny will be hoping to tighten up. I think their half back line will probably push back that little bit deeper into the full back line, and they just won't want goals to go in like they did last year, and they'll think they'll have a great chance then, but I think people are questioning maybe Tipperary's hunger this year, and I feel they're very hungry for another All-Ireland, one every 10 years. These players aren't happy with that,
OK, well, gentlemen, thank you for your thoughts. Of course, you're watching from the stands this year. Unusually enjoy the game. That's it from the sideline for the moment, Michael.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit drier up in the stands than it is obviously down the sideline. A pity to see the umbrellas out here to most.
It is, Michael, and the surface is very wet down there, and as Cheryl had mentioned, right, it gets more slippier here than actually giving way under your feet, so maybe a few mistakes could turn this game, but everybody is expecting this physical battle. I think tactically is going to be very, very key here as well. How far does he drop the half-back line back to actually stop that supply of ball going into the inside line of Lark Corbett and Dion Kellys and John O'Brien? And will the Tipperary half-hours start coming more out the field, and Brendan Cummins starts pinpointing puck out to them, and it becomes a point-shooting match at that stage, and they're the kind of tactical battles that are going to change the result of this match as well. And likewise at the other side, everybody's talking about maybe the star performer for Tipperary this year has been Padraig Maher. Who is going to take up the role of Padraig Maher? Who is going to stop him from launching those missiles into that full forward line? So they are some of the very key battles.
Liam Sheedy, can I come back again to Declan Ryan, who we saw in the interview a moment ago? When you finished up your term last year with Tipperary and you saw Declan and his backroom team coming in, were you happy enough with that move?
Definitely. Declan Ryan brings a huge experience into that role. I mean, Declan came in after me in 2007 as the minor manager, so he knows all, as he said in the interview himself, he knows all of these young guys. He knows them very, very well, and he's played with some of them. So the amount of respect that Declan carries into a dressing room is top class. And likewise, you've got guys like Tommy Dunn and Michael Leeson. Michael Leeson is manager of Thurles, who were unlucky not to even get to an Ireland Club All-Ireland last year. And Tommy Dunn is, people would say that he's one of the top coaches in the country. So he'll be putting them through their places. So these guys as well, these players, I think Declan Fanning said it there, they've won one All-Ireland in 10 years, so it's not as if they're used to winning. So the hunger, Kilkenny have the hurt of losing All-Ireland final last year, but Tipperary have the hunger of only winning one All-Ireland every 10 years. So I think there's a huge driving factor for this Tipperary team here today.
All right, Liam, OK, we're headed for another break here on the programme. It's All-Ireland Hurling final day. Here today, and of course a member of that team was our own colleague here on the Sunday game, Tomás Mulcahy, and the manager of the losing Galway team that occasion, of course, was Cyril Farrell. Tomás Mulcahy, you were nearly being left out of the team down there in Croke Park today. You had to make a quick dash in the studio. Yeah. Pity you weren't left out of the 86 team as well.
The run was a bit longer this time round to get to the field than it was in 86. And I said, Sarah, you remember?
No whistle blowing.
Yes. Sarah, you remember that result fairly well, And I must say, we've been talking on for the last couple of weeks about all these tactics and the football and the blanket defence. I blame this man. He started on that way back in 1986 with his three-man midfield. Meanwhile, back at the man of the match function, Johnny Crowley, number 4, and all-star that year, Johnny Crowley, number 4. Sir.
Yeah, you better answer. Well, Johnny Crowley was a good player.
When you're giving him free bucks, he's a great player.
Look, you try something, it doesn't work. You do things and it does work. We were coming from being trashed in 84. It was a young team, really, 85 and 86. We're just kind of getting to our feet. Cork were better than us in 86. The one that really killed me was the one in 1990 where they got all the score. That was because we were kind of around a while that time. But as Liam was saying there, you win some and you lose some. And the funny thing is that the ones you lose, you remember a lot more than that's part of it. But again, going back to the master is cracking the jokes. And look at hurling is a great game, and I think it is a great affinity. The people that play it or following it, they're a little bit different in that they share everything. They share the skills. They don't keep any secrets. They try to win the game. You'd have the likes of Brian Cody and Sheedy and these guys going out to other counties, spreading the gospel. Now, if they wanted to keep it just in Tipper Kilkenny, they wouldn't be spreading the gospel, and that's the way it should be. And long may it live.
But I said, Michael, just the interesting thing there when you looked at the clip, 4 of Jimmy Barry Murphy's team going forward into his new selection committee for 2012. You've Ger Cunningham, Johnny Crowley, you've Kieran Kingston there that came on as a sub as well in 86 as well. So it shows a bit of continuity there. The guys that play the game are now getting a chance to put something back in as a Coxino selector. And
that actually is an interesting point, Liam, that Cyril was making there. We refer to hurling people. You talk about them being hurling people regarding what county they come from, which you don't always hear we say about they being soccer people or rugby people with respect.
Yeah, I think it's something you grow up with, you know, and I mean, there's an awful lot of people. If you take Declan Ryan from when he started as a player to when he's the finished article, and likewise with Tommy Dunn, an awful lot of people have an impact on their careers. And it's great to see people like Declan Ryan and Tommy Dunn and these guys going back in and giving something back in either a manager's role or a coaching role. And I think it's hugely powerful, and that's one of the big strengths of